have not started doing what they call fish farming. You hear fish farming everywhere, but yet it's just the word of mouth. It's not practical, not visible. You hear everybody, fish farming. Yes, because they think the little ones we are doing, that's what they call fish farming. They have not started doing fish farming. Places like China, like Indonesia, like India, those are the people who are doing the real fish farming. China, I'm just trying to make you understand that we never start. China, their national GDP, they are able to raise the national GDP by 40% through fish farming. Nigeria, just I think last year, from the Bureau of Statistics, they said Nigeria was able to produce 3%. So it means that we have not started doing fish farming. And that's because the government, those days, when we were little, when we were very small, we used to hear of extension workers, people who go about training people, teaching people how to do farm, agricultural things. But they are no longer there because nobody encourages them. Even the government does not put effort in those areas anymore. Everybody is after crude oil. So the agricultural aspect of it is just the individual that we all got to make a farm. But there is no strong push towards agriculture. And agriculture is the mainstay. Every other thing can come and go, but agriculture remains. Even from the creation story, God created everything, both the animals and the trees before He created man. God farmed before us. So it means that without agriculture, we cannot sustain life. But yet, we are reluctant. We go to farm. Everybody's reluctant. So, talking of fish, what is a fish? In a very simple term, a fish is a cold-blooded, limbless, that does not have hand, without leg, animal that lives in the water. Without water, a fish cannot survive. Fishes only survive in the water. There are other animals that survive both in water and land, like the reptiles, the amphibians, those toads, all those kind of, they can survive in water, they can survive, but fish only survive in water. And there are different kinds of fishes in the river, but only few are viable for us to rear, like domesticate, that we can bring home to rear. There are other fishes that we cannot rear because of some factors. Maybe some of them cannot withstand artificial environment. Some of them cannot, they are very fragile. Once you bring them out now, the next thing they will start dying. So there are so many reasons why we cannot domesticate all fishes. But for us, in this aspect, in this part of the world, the fishes that we do are just few, like 3 in number, mostly. They are the catfish, the tilapia, and salmon. Even the salmon is not common. So everybody that does that. But at least the catfish is general. There are some people who do tilapia. Why the tilapia aspect is even a bit less is because tilapia does not do well in tarpaulin ponds or concrete ponds. Tilapia only does well in earthen pond, the one that will dig the ground and there will be water in the hole. That's where tilapia does better. So that's the reason why even the tilapia farming is in the minimal stage. But the catfish is the most valuable fish around this area. You can do the catfish farming anywhere at all. You can do the catfish farming. So before we get to the conditions for which we select the best fish to practice to learn, there are basics when you come to fish farming. There are things you need to know. First of all, before you go into any business, you need to verify certain things. You need to know something about that business. Don't just go into a business because you want every other person is doing it. You need to go and look at one or two things, ask questions. So for in the case of fish farming, first thing you need to know, gain the knowledge, some knowledge about fish farming by maybe reading through the net, trying to know one or two things. There are informations everywhere in the net. So when you go through the net, you get idea of what fish farming is. That is proper. Then another thing, and most important thing in fish farming is the practical aspect. Is the practical aspect. Sorry, today we are not doing practical because the it was not arranged. I only got to there, not in fact, we didn't arrange for practical. Maybe subsequent time we will do practical. But for now, because me personally, I like teaching people with practical so that you would understand what we are talking about. But today we are not doing practical. So the second thing there is practical. Then the third thing is skill, in the sense that the technical know-how and technical know why. Why you should do this, why you should not do this. Those are some of the things that you need to know in fish farming. Then whenever somebody comes to me and say, I want to do fish farming, I always ask the person two things. Do you have a water source? Because fishes only dwell in water. So if you don't have a proper water source, please don't go into fish farming because you end up losing. Because even if no matter how you try, you end up running at a loss because just like you are in this environment, everywhere you are, now that you came here, you open the window for what? It's for ventilation, so that you can breathe well. So the fishes breathe inside the water. It's oxygen that they still breathe in inside the water. The oxygen, you know, water is made of oxygen and hydrogen. So they breathe in oxygen. So if you put fish inside the water and they have sucked up that oxygen, the water will be polluted and they will not be conducive anymore. So if you don't have a proper source of water, like for instance, people who are doing it around the house, at least you need a borehole that you know that anytime at all, you can just go and on your borehole and supply water to the pond. So then the second thing I usually ask is security. The world don't stop. Nigeria is no longer the Nigeria that we used to know when we were very small. That you will do something, everybody will just come, they will not think of taking that thing from you. I've had experiences of people who rear fishes till the point where they are to harvest them. Somebody will just go, fishes are not like chicken. That when somebody enter the farm, they be shouting, making noise. No, they can just drain the water and pack your fishes without you knowing. So if you don't have a proper place close to your house, or if you have a farm, fine, you can build a farm, a fenced environment where you can do your practice your fish farming. So those are some of the bases for you to be able to do the necessary things that you need for you to be able to do fish farming. So now coming to the type of fishes we rear in this country. Like I said, we rear three species, which is tilapia, catfish, and inside the catfish, we still have different breeds. And the most common one around there is what they call claras. Claras. Then they have another one that is called etro. That one is just like the same catfish that you find in the open river, in the rivers where you go to the hair. It's similar to that catfish you find in the river. Etro. Then we still have the one that they call hybrid. Hybrid is a catfish that you combine two species to produce. For instance, now, me that I can ash fish, I can take maybe a female claras and a male etro to produce a set of fish. So that fish that is being produced is called hybrid. The difference is about you have characteristics of uh, both fishes. There is the Claras and the Etro. So those are the fishes that we read around this area. And because the reasons why we read them, we have so many reasons why we read them. Because one, they are capable of reproducing in captivity. It's not all fishes that you capture that will be able to reproduce. No matter how you try, there are some fishes you capture, you cannot reproduce them. But catfish, you capture catfish, even without you doing the hatching process. I've witnessed a situation whereby maybe you harvested your fishes, you just decided to leave like 10. Let them since I be picking them to eat. I've seen a situation whereby a catfish reproduced by itself in the pond. Just that if you don't notice such on time, they might eat up because they are carnivorous in nature. They may eat up the small ones. But whereby that kind of thing happens, you be sure that those fishes that it reproduces by itself will grow very fast because it does not undergo any artificial means. Okay, so those are some of the things that you need to take note when in the fish business. So going further, another thing that will qualify a fish for rearing, that is viable for rearing, is they have this resistance strength. That is, catfish are resistant to stress. Unlike the tilapia, if you stress the tilapia even a little bit, it's gone. But the catfish, the catfish can stay without water for 12 hours, provided the place is not sun. Ordinary ground like this that is not sunny, the catfish will stay there for 12. The moment you bring water to it, you put inside water, it will start afresh, start getting itself back. That is to tell you that it is a resistant kind of fish. It's very, very difficult for it to die. So that in some cases whereby you'll be removing water now from your pond and you forgot that you are removing water. And then maybe the moment you remember, you come back, all the fishes are there. But not with catfish. You may forget for the whole night. And when you come back in the morning, of course, if one or two might die because of the pressure, but the rest will survive. That's the reason why we wear catfish mostly. So, another reason, catfish have rapid growth compared to some other fishes. Tilapia does not have that kind of rapid growth, except it is in its natural environment, like the eating pond, where tilapia does not dwell mostly on this artificial feeding. It dwells mostly on the natural fish that grow from the eating pond, like those algae, dirty things. That's what tilapia eats most to grow better. So that is why, like I said, you cannot rear tilapia in a carbonate pond or concrete pond because they will not do well. So another thing that makes the catfish stand tall is ability to adapt to artificial feeding. If you hatch a fish, if you have experienced it, as little as they are, they call them fry. Though the first 3 days you will not feed them because then they will be eating their shells from where they hatched from. So after that 3 days, you start feeding them. As little as they are, they will be responding to the artificial feed. They'll be coming up to pick it because they are down. Then the artificial feed is like powder, very tiny. They're coming to pick them. So that is one quality of the catfish that makes people to rear the catfish. There are so many of them. Easy to process. Can have an early appearance and color. Catfishes, especially those, there are certain things that affect the coloration of fishes. As I'm talking, you can ask questions because this man is here waiting for to give us another talk. So as I'm talking, where you don't understand, ask questions. There are certain things that determine the coloration of fishes. Sometimes not the natural color that came from with it from birth. You know, when you put, for instance, I have a tarpaulin that is white, eh? And I put a catfish there. There is tendency that the color of that catfish will be gray, as in it will adapt to that environment. But if I have a black tarpaulin, all their colors will be dark in color because of the environment they are. They adapt to the environment. So that's another quality. So
the color is red.
no, it's either black or white. If the red is dark, a dark red, it will get dark. If it's a lighter color, and once you introduce a lighter color to it, the skin will be lighter. That's what I mean. So it will not change its color, original color, but between the dark and the fair color, it will change depending on the environment that you put it. Then it also has it's resistant to infection. Catfishes don't easily get sick. Before a catfish will get sick, that means you must have done the worst. You don't rear a catfish and then all of them start dying like a chicken, no? Catfishes are resistant to any form of infection. But there are cases where infection might enter the pond because of mismanagement. But we'll get to that place. We'll get there. So these are qualities of the fishes that makes it viable for us to nurse it because they have this kind of resistant ability. So they are the only problem catfish have is that they are carnivorous in nature. In the sense that if you don't feed them as required, sometimes they begin to attack themselves. Even when you feed them, sometimes, you know, in the process of feeding, they will be rushing. If you have ever fed fish, that's where some people derive joy. When you introduce feed into the pond, you see the fishes jumping to grab their own share of the feed. In that process, some may have injury. And once that happens, be sure that that fish that had the injury is going down. Other fishes will be prickling it until they kill it. Because once they sense any open injury or blood, they'll start attacking it. So that's the bad aspect of catfish, but every other thing is good. So that's catfish for you. Then, for you to do a fish farming, and you only want to rely on people's advice, you only want to rely on people's production. For instance, now you go and get fingerlings from somewhere. It means that you are not there yet. Because you will strive, but the day the person who is selling fingerling will give you stunted growth fish, you will regret it. Reason being that when fishes are hatched, they come in 3 sets. They have the one that they call shooters. Those ones, after 1 week, you will note the difference. Those ones are having very fast, high growth rates. We call them the shooters, but they are few. If they have 50,000 fries in a container, maybe it will not be more than 3,000 inside that container, from the same bed. Then we have the one of average growth, which is the normal growth, which they will most likely sell for you because that's the one that everybody, because the other ones are few, so you cannot buy those sets in quantity. And whenever anybody wishes to sell that shooters for you, it will add additional money. So the normal growth is one that is okay for everybody to rent. Then there's another set that is having small growth, stunted growth. No matter what you do, it comes out in 3 sets. Shooters, normal growth, stunted growth. That's how they are. So when you are going to buy fingerlings, most people will mix them. They said, na me go keep the stunted growth. What use it is to me, so they will mix them. But whereby some people have very close customers, and they have been doing business with, they have become like brothers. Oh, boy, I beg, come on, the stunted growth for me, I beg, I beg, I beg. They will do so. And when they remove those normal growth and leave the stunted growth, you that came to buy that is not too familiar with you, you may decide to, because Nigerian business, nobody wants to, if now white man, they go throw away and put for sin. They don't want to lose anything. You may decide to sell those ones for you without you knowing. And then when you put them in the pond, you keep feeding them, nothing they change. After like 2 months, they will still be like, as if they are 2 weeks. So that's the nature of fingerling. So that's why I said if you want to be a successful fish farmer, you need to learn how to hatch fish by yourself. Okay.
How does the farmer itself that hatch? How does he know when he hatch the eggs? Then how does he know the stunted ones and the African ones?
It's a physical. You see them physical. You note the.
How do you recognize them?
No, daddy. It's when before the farmer will sell it to you, he must have stayed in his pond for a week. Sorry, a month and 2 weeks. That's when they become fingerlings.
Okay.
So when they are hatched, they are called fries, tiny like smaller than mosquito. Fish eggs are small, but something to come out from that egg shell is very tiny. So, but after 3 days, you start noticing them. They will change color from green to dark color. So, they will know because the sizes differentiate them.
Okay.
The shooters are big. The other ones that are more, the normal growth is normally more in the pond. The shooters are few. The normal growth is small. Then the other ones too, they will be more than the shooter, the stunted growth. So sometimes it might not be from the bed. It is because of the feeding pattern. We are going to fingerling production now. I just want to teach you theoretically. Maybe next time we will talk about practical. It's a practical thing. I enjoy doing the practical. They fail. So another thing is the feeding pattern. Once these people hatch fish, sometimes they don't take proper care of it. So when you don't feed them well and you don't, at that stage, there's what they call broadcast feeding. You don't feed at a particular spot. When they are grown, you can feed at a particular, all of them will convert there and eat. But at that tender age, because they are the water, though small, but it's voluminous to them, so they don't, and they are not fast because they are still very tiny. So they don't move around everywhere, though they gather in some places, but some of them are just floating. So you do broadcast feeding system. You just disperse the feed for them everywhere so that they can eat well. If you fail to do that, sometimes some of them will not eat well. So some others will grow faster, then those ones that are not eating well will remain at that level, and that will affect their future growth. They'll be like a child that you don't give proper feeding at early stage. When you give them that, people say breastfeed the child so that you have balanced nutrients. Where you fail to breastfeed and that child that you are not giving him other alternatives that are okay, the child will begin to have stunted growth. It's like you are underfeeding the child. Even if you are feeding the child with so many things, but you are not giving him the proper needed nutrients, so it will be having kwashiorkor in some cases. So that is what happens to fishes too. So you need to do proper taking care of your fingerlings so that majority of them will fall among the normal growth, and you have fewer stunted growth fishes. Now, to produce fingerlings or fries, as the case may be, well, you need a male and a female fish. God created them two. Every animal has male and female. Fishes too have male and female. To identify them, it's going to be visible. I cannot tell you theoretically how to identify them. Although the male has usually have a protruding flesh from underneath, unlike the female just tummy is just flat, but the male has something that is protruding. So that is how you identify a male fish. If you look at every other fish, they are all the same. It's not as if the male has bigger head than the female head. It's all the same. Sometimes the female that is eating very well has a bigger head than even the male. So then another thing, some people that might be confusing because some people will just look at a fish. If the fish has big tummy, they will say it's a female fish. That's not the case. Sometimes even the male will have big tummy. So let us not be mistaken. So that is the only time I can be able to show you that is when maybe we do a practical experiment. Now, if you get the male and female fish, just like somebody who is preparing to give birth, you need to take care of that person, especially the female fish. Once you want to use it for action, you separate it from among other fishes. You keep it at a separate place, at least for one day. Let it have its own rest. Although even will not rest and will they inject. Okay, but the proper thing to do is for you to separate it from others. Let it have rest for like 24 hours. Because when they are in the midst of others, they will be running, fighting, they don't have rest. But once they are, they will stay calm in one place. If you separate a fish and put in another pond, the fish does not move around often. It will stay calm in one place. So you have its rest. Even likewise the male, you keep it in a separate place. Then after that, you bring in the fishes because it's an artificial method we are using. So we usually buy something that they call hormone. There's a drug, we call it fish hormone. They sell it in places that they sell fish feed. So when you get the hormone, you weigh your fish. Your fish, some fishes might be 2 kg, 3 kg, depending on the size. The hormone, when you are because you use syringe and needle to inject the fish. The female fish, that's the only fish you inject. You don't inject the male fish. And you inject it from the top, the lining at the top. Either you inject it towards you inject it towards the head side so that the drug will catch up quick with the fish. That drug that you're injecting helps the fish. How do they call it now? It speed up the process of the fish trying to release the eggs. It helps aid the fish to be able to release egg. So once you inject the fish, you give it 8 hours, depending on the weather condition too. So we'll talk about that too. If the weather condition is like this is a normal weather condition. It's not freezing. 8 hours minimum, 8 hours, 8 to 9 hours. You see the eggs starting to release eggs. The female fish starting to release eggs. You know that the fish is ready. So you bring out this fish from where you kept it. Normally, if you want to inject the female fish, you put it inside a basin, not in the big pond anymore, because you want to use it. Because if you put it inside the big pond, you will not be able to catch it when you need it. So you put it inside a basin and cover it up. Because once you inject the fish, you need to cover it with something heavy and leave small opening for oxygen. Why so? Because when you inject it, it will react to the drug, and that time it will be jumping all over. I want it to jump out from the basin. So if you are not careful and you don't cover it with heavy something, you might see your fish at the front of the gates from here, because it's very active at that time. So it can crawl from here to a very far distance. And when you come, you didn't see it in the basin, you start looking for it. Sometimes you may not even see it because you crawl under things that you will not know. It's only when it dies you begin to perceive the smell that this fish went there to die. So then once you've done that, you bring out the fish from the basin, and then you bring a dry plate, preferably plastic plates. You bring out a dry plate. Then you bring a towel or tissue paper and clean up. Okay, now for you to handle the female fish, you cannot hold it with your ordinary hand because it will be slimy and it will be slippery. It's slimy and it's slippery. So you need a towel, hand towel, possibly wet it a bit to grab the fish. You grab it, and normally it's two persons that is good, best to do it. One will grab the tail, the other one will grab the head. But if you cover, once the towel is a bit wet, the trick is that you use the towel to cover the eyes of the fish, the head. So when you cover it, it will be a bit calm for you to be able to control. If not, you keep struggling. And in the process of struggling, you might be wasting the eggs because the eggs are ripe to fall out. So when you grab the tail and the head, you place the plates on the ground or on the table, wherever you are doing it. Then you that is handling the egg will start pressing the tummy. So when you press the tummy, the eggs will start rushing out from the opening underneath. You do not allow blood to mix with the eggs because if you overpress the tummy because you want all the eggs to come out, you may end up bringing out blood. But once blood is mixed, the egg will not activate. So once you have succeeded in pressing, in case blood falls out from the basin, you remove that blood stained part with spoon. Remove those eggs. There's no need. There are so many eggs. If the fish is a good one, you have thousands of eggs, more than 200 to 400,000 of eggs there. So if you succeeded in doing that, then you bring the male fish. The male fish, we call it the sacrificial lamb because it has to die. The female fish, you can use it again after 3 months. Once you press the egg, you can return it to a separate pond, let it rest for like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, then you return it back to the pond. After 3 months, you can reuse it. But the male fish, for you to be able to extract the sperm, you need to kill it. But you don't need to kill it before you extract it. So what you need to do is to hold it in place, tear the tummy, and remove the sperm. The sperm will come out with blood stains on the surface, but you clean it with tissue so that the blood stain will go up. Then after that, you open up the sperm with either blade because it's a sac. The sperm is in a sac. So you open it up with a blade, tear it so that the sperm fluid will come out. Once you've done that, you now add, there's what they call saline solution. Saline solution is salt water. You can get it from the pharmacy or you can produce your own. A mixture of salt and water. We that are Ashen, we know how to produce it. The normal kitchen salt. You maybe get a 75 centimeter of water, that's a Ragolis bottle or water bottle. Put a half tablespoon of salt. That's okay. It has become a saline solution. So now, because the sperm is usually little compared to the eggs, what you do, you have to increase the volume of the liquid. So by adding saline solution to it, maybe like 3 of the cover. So once you've done that, you pour it into the eggs. You're already waiting eggs. Then you mix. You begin to turn. As they are turning, they have not activated yet. They are only turning so that the sperm will touch every egg. But the moment you introduce fresh water into the eggs, all the eggs will be activated by the sperm. And then among the eggs, majority of them are not good. So no matter how hard you try, at best you will only survive half. of the number of eggs that you put there. Out of that half, you will survive them, even the price. If you manage it properly, because if you manage it properly, you may survive 75% of the ones that are already hatched. So the process is not difficult. It's just because the way I'm saying it and I'm just talking to you, as even I was practicalizing it now, you see that it's not a difficult process. That's what people use in making millions. There are people like in Asaba, there are people who, I have a friend, when I started learning how to hash, something happened. The first hashing I did, something happened. Because I was not able to identify male and female. I went to somebody who was doing fish farming to get male and female fish. Instead of the person to direct me, the person did not direct me, because I brought home 2 female fishes. And I injected the one that has bigger tummy. I'm feeling that the other one is a male fish. And I injected it overnight because I like to spawn my eggs in the morning, so that it takes 24 hours to hatch. So that the next morning they start hatching. So that I will take the whole day to manage the hatching, so that there will be no pollution. So I like injecting the fish late in the night. So, but you can inject it in the morning. That means when they start hatching, they will start hatching in the evening. Because when you inject it in the morning, it takes 8 to 9 hours before the egg will be ripe for you to begin the process. So it means that you will definitely do the spawning of eggs in the evening, and they will now stay 24 hours to begin to hatch. So that's what happened was that I injected one of the female fish. Getting to the morning, only for me to open up the other one and discover it's still a female, it has eggs. I said, what will happen? So what I did is my first attempt. Very successful attempt. So what I did was I called down my friend who was in Atonisha then. Now he's in Okwe. It's a big time farmer now. I called him, he said I shouldn't worry, that I should put the eggs in a fridge, ordinary fridge, not deep freezer. I should put them, cover it and put it there, so that it will not experience temperature. So I should come and get a female fish. So I went to every to collect the fish. So I spent almost like 1 hour 30 minutes before I brought in the male fish. And behold, I did the process just as I've explained. After doing it came out well. So sometimes if you have a problem with the male fish, maybe the male fish does not have sperm. There are some male fishes that probably they have wasted their sperm, you know, especially when you are doing this in around that August, October. You have to be careful, because then naturally, even in the water, that's the time fishes spawn. Summer, when the temperature of the environment is a bit hot, that's when they spawn. So most times you will find that the male fish will naturally waste its sperm. So when you open up the fish now, you see that there's no sperm. So you have to preserve the eggs in order to get a male fish. I had that experience again at Mbidi. Somebody called me from Asaba to Mbidi. And after that one too, what happened? It was my own fault as well, because I left, I was closing from work, so I was in a hurry. So I told that my friend to keep a male and female fish, package them for me. So when I come, I will just carry and go. But I have to take the male and female fish from Asaba. Not knowing that my friend didn't do it himself. He asked his boys, because he don't get boys where they work for, to do it, and they package 2 female fish. As soon as I get there and open fish, then I know how to see, because I didn't want to stress the fish. That's why I did not bother, because it's in a tight container. I did not bother to bring them out, only for me to discover that they are all female fishes. So that's when I got to a farm. So the man said, okay, we should reject it, there are farms around. So we started looking for where to get male fish in the morning. until you get to one farm. They call it Jacob's farm. Atingbidi, not even Owoletan. The man is a billionaire. What he does not sell his fishes here in Nigeria as well. The wife got to tell me that they export their fishes. What they do, okay, let me not go there. So let me come back to what we're saying. So that experience I had, that first experience I had, I was able to survive about 35,000 fingerlings. And then, because I don't know whom to sell to, I was just thinking aloud. Somebody heard me. I was like, oh, okay, you are looking for buyers? I have buyers. But we'll make a deal. If I bring buyer, you'll be giving me 2 naira, because then they were selling fingerling 10 naira. I said, no problem. The following day brought in buyers to buy 10,000 fingerling. Not be small counting. No. In a table like this, we started counting the fishes. 5 into another basin. That's how we counted. He joined me to count because he's going to benefit as well. So we counted 10,000, sold it off. Another 2 days, 5,000. Another 2 days, 5,000. That's how I sold those fishes. Now that fish I take, and I now put some. I built a pond from that fish, the same fish, because that was my first action. From that the same fish, I built some ponds, 3 ponds. I was able to sell and produce ponds. From that the same fish, I put in 3,000 fishes into my ponds. And when I eventually sold them, and that money I take give my wife to be. Now we take do marriage. To God be the glory. So that is my first. It's interesting. It's interesting. So, like I was saying, if you after bringing out the sperm, you spread it and mix it, then you put it inside the already prepared ashery. Asheries might not be big; they might be basins, but not one basin. Maybe like 8, 9, 10 basins. They will place mosquito net, as they call it, egg bed, mosquito net inside the water. You don't spread the egg directly in the container. You spread it on top mosquito net. The reason being that when they start hatching, they will be able to swim off. It is not everything that will hatch, because if you don't do it like that, and all the eggs are down at the container, bottom of the container, when they hatch, you will not be able to separate the unhatched eggs from the ones that have hatched. But if they are spread on the mosquito net, the ones that have hatched, most of them will swim off from the mosquito net, so that it will be easy for you to remove the dead eggs at the end of the day. You just remove the mosquito net and all the dead eggs follow, so that there will be no pollution in the system. But at that stage, if there even the slightest pollution in it will kill all of them, because at that stage they don't have any form of resistance or stamina. So that is it with the action. So we go further. If you have any question to ask in the action, just ask.
Let me ask one question.
Okay.
If, for example, I want to grow the shooters,
Yes.
should it be the male and female shooter that I should need?
Okay, like for instance, you want to breed the shooters, you want to use shooters for...
Yes,
So,
because I want big ones.
no problem. Even if you use the shooters, like I was explaining, in the process of managing them, some of them will still be small because they didn't eat well.
It's counted.
Yes, some of them will still be small. But you have, at least, you have more of the average ones, that the normal growth, and the shooters, and a few will be small. So that's why sometimes we usually prefer shooters, like you said, big fishes to hatch, so that when they will produce big fishes. So the question you ask is very correct. So if you want to hatch, use big fish, so that they will give you quality fishes as well, because big fishes, their eggs too are bigger. Small fishes, their eggs are tiny. But that tiny does not mean that they will not grow. There will be always shooters and normal growth, and smaller ones. So that's that. Then Let us go to pond. Some people will ask, is there a definite shape for pond construction or maybe a definite size? There is no definite shape, but there are definite sizes, defined sizes. For proper understanding, I want to say, okay, like a room, the size of a room, 12 by 12. If you are doing a pond, you are constructing a pond, be it concrete or tarpaulin, except for the earthen pond. The earthen pond is always better. But just that you cannot construct earthen pond on a dry land like this. It needs to be located near the stream or the river so that you channel the river through the pond. How do you do that? Let me start from there now. If you are having if you want to construct an earthen pond and there's a stream or there's a river, what you do, you dig the ground to the level of that river. Below the river, sorry, below the level of that river. Then you put a pipe and dig through it to allow water to connect the pond from the water source, natural water source, river or stream. But you put net, be it iron net or mosquito net, you put net, but preferably all those iron nets, so that more water can enter at the same time. Then likewise, the direction where the river is flowing to, that's where you put the outlet, so that when it enters through this direction that is flowing from, it will go out through the other side. That pond water is not constant. It's not that earthen pond water you've just done, it's moving. So the pollution cannot occur in such pond because the water that comes in will also go out. But the fishes remain. Why? Because you block the exit with nets. Only the water can filter out, but the fishes will remain inside. Then another form of earth pond are the kind of ponds we have in our area, where the ground is waterlogged. So when you dig any hole, you automatically see water inside. That one is a pond that is stagnant in one place. The water does not flow out, but the water will remain there for as long as the rainy season, even dry season, they have water there inside that pond. But mostly, if you are doing those kind of pond, you build the pond during you target to build the pond during the dry season because they have lesser water, so that it will not stress you to remove water. Okay, so those are the two forms of earthen pond. Then they say some people do pond as big as a lake. Lake is stagnant water, does not move. Like those kind of ponds can be found in Lagos and Ibadan. We are not doing fish, we are joking in Delta State. You see people going to Ibadan to bring fish. That's why they have the biggest fish farmers. And in Lagos, in Nigeria, the highest fish farmers are in Lagos. Then followed by Ibadan. Even we that are in the south here, we are not doing fish farming. No extensive fish farming. You cannot say we have a very big farm that can move, that is more than this whole compound. It's hard. But there are people in Ibadan that has farm that is twice this compound. They have big earthen ponds that can accommodate 50,000 fingerlings at once. So those are the ones we call fish farmers. So that being the way. So we are talking about the sizes. A fish pond can be of any shape. It does not matter. The important thing is that let it have space for the fishes. If you have a 12 by 12, for instance, you cannot stock more than 1,000 fishes inside that pond. 12 by 12 by 4 foot or 3.5 foot high. You cannot stock more than 1,000 fishes in that pond. Reason being that if you stock more than 1,000 fishes, you must have overstocked, and it will give you problem. And another thing again too, the depth of fish pond matters. If you, in the sense that if I have water in a pond and the pond is it's not high, there's tendency that the water to level will be low. In that case, when the sun comes, it may overheat the water. The temperature change will be too rapid and it will affect the growth of the fish. Sometimes it will cause death of some fishes if the water temperature is too high because of the sunlight. And it's good. One thing you need to know, when you are constructing your fish pond, there are some persons who will now build roof over it. That is nonsense. You need the sun to touch your fish pond. It is good to expose your fish pond. Reason being that if you cover your fish pond, the tendency of pollution is high. And again, it will be hard for the fishes to feed well because fishes don't feed in cold water. You see the stream water or the river water, if you have been close to a river like we do, no matter how the weather is cold, no matter how the weather, harmattan season, the weather is cold, they are freezing. If you enter the river, it's warm. Why? Because it's a flowing water. So that's how the fishes in the river they are. They live in a water that is room temperature, like 29 to 30 degrees Celsius. That's how the normal river water is. No matter how cold the environment is, the river water is on. So that is the kind of water that even the fishes need. So you don't need to build your fish pond under any roof. You need to expose it. Another benefit to it is that the fish pond will begin to blink, have that green coloration. It's fine because in the daytime, those green things you see inside the fish, they are algae. In the daytime, that green stuff will help to introduce more oxygen into the water. Through the process of photosynthesis, they react with the sun and produce oxygen into the water. So by that way, the fishes will have fresher water. Okay? The only time is that when they are too much, it's no longer okay. You need to flush them out. You need to wash the pot so that the level of algae will reduce. But when they are too much, in the night, they will be sucking up the oxygen. But they introduce more oxygen in the daytime when there is sunlight. So that's the reason why you must build your ponds outside, not inside. Expose your ponds to the sun. And it introduces vitamin into the water for the fishes as well. So those are the benefits of exposing your sun. So don't mind people who will just build structure. They want to be professional. They will just build structure, put your fishes under. No, the fishes will not feed well because fishes feed well at a normal room temperature. And that is why if you feed your fishes in harmattan season in the morning, you will notice that they will not be responding to the feeds. You think they are sick. They are not. It's because the water is too cold. So you wait till around 10 to 11 to 12 when the weather temperature has come up. So when you feed them, they will eat better. If not, if you feed them too early, the feeds that they do not eat will cause pollution for you in the water. So fish pond need depth and it needs space. Every fish needs a space. But once they are congested, they will rush and take in the oxygen, little oxygen, and there will be no oxygen. You see them floating their heads. Why are they floating their head? Because the water is no longer conducive for them. And you think, my fishes something is wrong with my fishes. No, nothing is wrong. It's because the water they have is no longer conducive for them. So they are sourcing for oxygen elsewhere. They are inside the water, but their mouths are up. So that is some of the reason why you must build your fish pond, you don't overstock it, and you must have a depth. So if you have a fish pond that is 4 feet is like almost like this, at least you put water to half of the pond. So that even no matter how the sun hits that water, it will not change the temperature. The temperature will remain warm and normal for the fishes. But if the water is too low, as some people will always do, so that some of their reasons are very flimsy. They say so that it will be easy for me to remove water and put water. So it's not good enough. That is for fish pond construction. Fish pond construction. So let's go to management of fish and fish water. Like I already stated, you don't overstock your pond, meaning that it will increase pollution rapidly. So now, if some people say, is there a definite time for changing water? No, no definite time for changing water. You can change water even twice a day, depending on what you fed them with. For instance now, I changed the water this morning and a friend of mine said, I have protein source, I have a chicken intestine. Would you like to feed them with chicken intestine? Say yes. You get the chicken intestine and you fed your fishes. It means that you have polluted the water itself because of the blood cells and every other thing. They will eat, but the water is already bad. So after a while, you need to change the water. And again, if you put in fish and when people say, okay, like for instance, when people say, fish pond, I don't like it because it smells a lot. Bros, if I'm doing fish pond in this compound, the person at the next compound will not know that I'm doing fish pond. It all boils down to the water management. Because if you don't manage your water properly, it will affect the growth of the fish. It will introduce infection to the fish. So that's why water management in fish farming is very important, especially when you are having it is not eating pond. And these things are greatly is more in tarpaulin and concrete pond. You need to be mindful of your water so that the fishes will always be having pond. They will always be happy, fresh water. That does not mean that you must change water every day. And if you don't overstock, to be fair, if you don't overstock your pond, at least your water can stay. If you are feeding them with this artificial milk, your water can stay up to 5 days. You don't need to change it. But that also boils down to observation. At every point, you need to observe your water. These things come with experience. Maybe in your first when you are handling the first time, you may not really know. But after experiencing it for a while, you begin to understand the water management system. If you are in a place by the stream, there are some people who do what they call floating. They keep recycling the same water. They have a machine that filters the water, but the water never stays in the pond. It keeps recycling. Well, hardly we see people who do that in Nigeria because it's cost intensive. It is expensive to manage because you need to have constant lights to be able to do that. The water will keep recycling. In that way, the water will not be polluted at all. Even in the hatchery system, some people do recycling, a system for the hatchery. Then another thing that you can do to help the water to stay long is the introduction of aerators. There are some machines that introduces oxygen into the water, but that also boils down to light, NEPA. When you connect it to light, it will introduce, it has an outlet that introduces oxygen into the water. You just drop that outlet into the water and it constantly introduces oxygen into the water, thereby limiting that rapid pollution of the water. It will help the water to remain fresh. That's aerator, production of aerators. But that is also expensive. So the best is for you to remove water and replace water. Sometimes also you can do what they call how do they call it again now? The situation whereby if you don't want to remove the water entirely, after a while, as you are running, and you remove, as you open the outlet, as the water is going out, you are putting water. After a while, you stop. In that way, it refreshes the water as well. So those are some of the things you do for proper water management. Never allow your water to stay until it starts to smell. It's a bad idea. The fishes will not do well. Even if it happens once, it will affect the fish, the life of it. See, people who are living in a very dirty environment, they are always sick. They are not looking healthy. The places where they don't have proper ventilation, such people fall sick almost every time because they don't have fresh air. So that's why some people always prefer to stay at the outskirts of the town where they have trees. You know, inside the town it's always congested. These automobiles, machine, motor everywhere, jaga 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 jaga, no proper fresh air. So that's why delay. So water management is very important in fish farming. Please take note. Then the next thing is feed management. Fish are very expensive now, but that should not deter anybody, because no matter, everything is going up. If they add fish feed, you too, when you are selling, you add money, because it cannot only affect you. It's a general thing. Until maybe when the government wake up to begin to do price control, because almost every time they'll be adding small money in fish feed. But we also have other natural ways of feeding your fish, besides the ones that you buy from already made feeds. You can, if you are the one that is close to somebody who does kill chicken, you will make contact. Nowadays, unlike before, when you go to bakery, you see spoiled bread everywhere. You pack them, crumbs. You go and use it to feed your food. But now, even bakery, even crumbs, no, they fall again. It has become that difficult. Crumbs no longer fall in the bakery anymore. Then sometimes, you know, all these bread sellers along the roadside, it's not every time they finish selling their bread, the bread will get bad. Like when I used to do in Asaba, I used to go to a place they call it Blues Junction, where they have so many bread sellers. If you make contact, those ones, they don't, not that they run at a loss, because they have deal with the bakery. The one they don't sell, you cannot sell, they will replace. But the spoiled one now, you will go and buy them and use it to feed your fish. Your fish will eat it. There are other things, like when I was doing fish farm in sir? Yes, they do. They do. The big ones, that is the ones that are paid up to like 3 months. So when we were small, I was privileged to, I grew up, I was born in Kwara State, Jeba Dam, where they have dam. Then I still kind of grew up at Kenji Dam. So we do gold fishing. What we do, we mold garri, not baked one, not with hot water. The cold garri, we mold it with water. Then add oil. It becomes colorful, red oil. Then we put it in the hook. When we put it, sharp, fish don't rush am. We catch fish. So those things, though these things are calling now, garri now are very expensive commodity. They compete with rice and beans now. So I'm not saying you should use garri to feed them, but some other small things, fishes eat anything, provided there's no bone in it. Okay, you can introduce small things, right? But if you are doing it for commercial purposes, please use the artificial feed, or the other ones, they need protein, so you can introduce chicken, whatever, to them. Like your brother, when he was doing it as our there, you know, he does poultry, so any bagara for chicken, you don't cut them, you don't put them, you don't eat. So that's what he does. So that is for feed management. If I have missed any, please ask questions so that it will help me to remember anything concerning fish management. So now we talked about fish management. How do you stock your fish? Stocking, like I told you before, is according to the size of the pond. You don't stock fish because you want to rear many fishes at the same time. You stock fish according to the size of the pond. A 12 by 12 pond should not take more than 1,000, please. If you have 20 by 10, at least you can introduce 2,000 to it. It's okay. Because the more you introduce more fishes into a smaller pond. So, okay, if you have 12 by 12 pond, you introduce 1,000 fishes only. 20 by 10, introduce 2,000. So in that capacity, it will do well. But if you introduce anything more than that, the fishes will not grow. Why? Because they don't even have the space to grow in the first place. They will be tight. As they are growing in size, the pond will be tight, congested, yes. So they will not be able to grow well. They will be eating. You give them food, they don't finish. But they will not grow in size because they don't have space to grow. They grow according to the size of the pond. No space to grow. So be mindful of how you stock your pond.
Is there any advantage if the number is less than this you have?
Yes, of course. If you maybe decide to put 500, it will even do better. They have freedom. And then they will not be rushing food. Now big men, now they be that time. You introduce food, they will be picking it as big men. They shop, big men not they rush food. They will grow better because they have enough space to run around, and there will be no fear. When they are much, they will be attacking. They will be running from each other, from attack. Tendency that one they want to attack another one because so no wrestling for them. Keep roaming and roaming and roaming, no resting. All day, all night, no resting. So that will not make them to grow properly. So those are some of the things.
Let me ask this question, please. If the environment is smelling, because one thing I hate is going to this poultry and fish pond, it smells a lot, and I'm allergic to it. So can one introduce the toy or as a washing things, environment there, place and whatever? Can it affect the fish?
Daddy, it depends on how you build your fish pond. If you are allergic to a smelly environment, then you need to build your fish pond in such a way that you don't even see the water. You need to dig maybe a sock away. Where as you are flushing the water goes straight into the sock away. You will not see the water. It will remain there before the next draining. Maybe the sock away are dried up. So you flush again. So in that way, the place, like there are some people who does fish in a compound, like in a place like this, you don't see water on the ground because there's no way for water to come out. It's a tarpaulin pond, it's a concrete pond. The water only goes in and flush out through the pipe. So you will not see any dirty thing on the ground. It's very neat. But for poultry, that's poultry, you must see it. So I will not lie you. Let's come to that. So now, one reason why I said people have not started doing fish farming. Me, I'm developing my own farm now in Asaba. Now, one thing is the resources. People will say start small. Yes, I've started small before in people's land, and at the end of the day, I was asked to leave and all that. So I said, until I get my own place and do it properly, then I will be satisfied. So I stopped. I only go to tell people about it, but for me, I have not had my own farm for a while now. So, but I'm working on it now. Ogarima is aware of it, your brother. So people don't do farm in a proper way, and that is why sometimes they run at a loss. So I want to tell you the secret now. If you want to do fish farm, please, that is a proper fish farm that for commercial purposes. But if you are doing it for just your own consumption, no problem, you can do 2 ponds. But if you want to do for commercial purposes, try and make the ponds up to 10 to 12. I have a reason for saying so.
10 to 12.
Yes. If you have that, then you are good to go. Because your target might be every 4 months to sell out. Now, this is what you do. If you have privilege to make up to 12 points, you divide the points into 4 for 4 months. That makes it 33 points per month.
Every month.
Now, you don't stock all the fishes, all the ponds at once. For the first month, please stock only for 3 ponds. Okay? Then the second month, stock for another 3 ponds. The third month, stock for another 3 ponds. The fourth month, stock for another 3 ponds. That's the same fourth month now. The first pond is ready for sale. Now, if you sell that first pond, that is the 3 ponds, if you sell them off, you have money. All this while you have been putting in money for the ones that you have been doing, you have been feeding them. But once you sell now, you have money at hand. What you do, a person when they work in the shop, Abi, now I make the call and workshop. Now, that's your workshop. That first ponds that they have sold, you will now divide the money into the appropriate quotas. In the sense that you keep some for savings, you keep some for buying of feeds, then you keep some for miscellaneous, other small things, maybe pump water or other things. Bros, that is when you have started fish farming. That every month you must have to sell. If you do the other system that is popular in this around this area, like they will, if they have 12 they will stock all. They start stressing all to feed them, and eventually, when the time comes, they will sell. They don't sell. When you restock again, that money that you have sold, you will not even see the money to feed them again, because the money will be entering different places, and you are not sure of selling another month. You wait till another 4 months to sell. So the period you are waiting, the money will vanish. But if you make arrangement, even if not to sell to 2 weeks, it's possible.
Yes.
It all depends on your partnering, the way you divide them. So that at every point in time, there's always fish available for sale. That is when you have started doing fish farming. Not the 4 months, 5 months, as the case may be. You have not started doing fish farming. So please, if you want to go into a commercial fish farming, use this pattern that I've just explained. It will help you. And you have salary to pay yourself and pay your whoever. If you are somebody is working for you, pay. You still have money that is remaining in your bank account, and be sure that when you are buying feed, you are buying feed for all sizes. And if God help you, you know how to hatch, then you are not even buying the feed. You select the best fish from your hatchery to feed the ponds. In that way, you will now progress into expanding the ponds. Okay.
For instance, like this 12 by 12,
Yes.
that is 1,000 fishes. Now, for you to grow it for 4 months, for you to grow it for 4 months, what is the estimated cost? What is the estimated cost?
For now, I cannot give you the specifics
Cost of
because I don't even know.
We just want to know before you.
Yeah, of course, that is the reason why I
want to
said
know whether it is profitable or not before you enter into it.
Of course.
That is the most important.
Of course.
Now, I want us to have a clear knowledge of the estimated cost and the output
Okay.
of this 12 by 12. That's, we know that it is now what we expected to put in there is 1,000 fishes.
Yes. Okay. Now, I'll have to explain
How
it.
you get it is this. Let me show one thing.
Okay.
Like this 1,000 fish from the finger length. Like using the thread feed.
How many bags
How many bags
will they be able to consume?
before just a day?
If you don't overfeed, some people, when they see that until the fishes no longer respond to feeding, that's when they will stop. At that time, you must have overfed them. Because,
will be wasted.
yes, because when they finish eating, when they are not comfortable, they will still remove what they have eaten, they vomit them into the system. So you should be able to have a gauge at all times. That also comes by experience, because I cannot tell you that you must feed the fish with one bucket of feed as each day by day. No. Yes, so you must have a gauge. As they are growing, you'll be adding more. That's how you do it. But then, for the generality, you can raise a 1,000 fish with about 25 bags. Before now, they will say 16 bags. No, it's not okay, because they eat more when they are growing, and that's when they start adding weight. Okay? And when they are small, first month, they may not even eat up to a bag for the whole month. At that time, you are feeding them with 2 mm. They will not finish the bag. But once they enter the 3rd month and the 4th month, they will be eating very well, because then their mouths are big. They can swallow anything. So about 25 bags for 1,000 fishes is okay, when you don't overfeed them. That's one aspect of fish management. You need to be careful the way you put the feed, because once you overfeed them, they will waste the food, and it will even affect their system, because after eating, they vomit it, they will not grow, because the feed did not stay in their system. So you will now be complaining, I don't finish how many bags, the fish is not grow, because you have been overfeeding them. So they eat and vomit, and when they vomit those things, it will now lead to pollution in the pond. So
what is the estimated output for this format? Expected cost, not correct, but at least.
Daddy, I cannot give you that figure, because prices of things are.
However, I think more research. The sizes matters.
The weight matters. Yes.
So you can't actually give us the exact.
No, I cannot. But nevertheless, no, it's not the way I sold my fish that you will sell your fish. Okay? Somebody might come to me and say, I want to buy.
But if they do well, feeding them with this 25 bags,
they will do well. Yeah, definitely they will profit. They will profit. If your fishes are not having any issue, you feed them with 25 bags, 1,000, they will be very big, and you make your profit, you make your gains. So another thing I want to say concerning the fish is whether fishes do get sick. Yes, fishes do get sick, and there are factors that leads to that, which we have mentioned a lot of them. Overstocking can make the fish to be sick. A fish might, okay, then another thing that can lead to the fish getting sick is allowing the water to be polluted. When you allow the water, when people fish, because I don't know why people will say, I don't feed, because they don't manage the water. Water management and feed management are very important in the management of fish rearing. If you get these two, you will always make profit. You manage your water properly, you manage your feed. No, they overfeed them. And at the same time, don't go and be too stingy. Not how they feed them well. But feed them moderately. That's why I said this thing goes with experience. You will do it, and you will be perfect in it. So pollution can lead them to get sick. Another thing that can make them to get sick is maybe you introduce expired feeds. Feeds do get expired, like these are artificially made feed. When they are expired, you put them, and when the fishes eat them, it destroys their system in such a way that they will have protruding tummy, and most of them that cannot withstand it will just die. So these are some of the causes of infection or sickness to the fish. So how do you treat them? You treat them. There are various methods in which they treat them. But before you treat your fishes, if you notice, okay, no, let's talk about the signs. Well, how do you know that your fish is not healthy? You see that they will having this pale kind of skin color, kind of whitish. When you see an healthy fish, it's usually very, very okay and dark, kind of dark. Even if it is white, you know that it's healthy. It's just because of the color of the tarpaulin. That's why it's like what. When you see a fish that is not healthy, it's kind of pale, whitish. You know that the fish is not healthy. And then another thing, you will see injuries around the mouth. You know that the fishes are not healthy. Then, like I told you, sometimes you see some of their tummy, they will be floating like this, upside down, because there's air in their system. So when the fish is floating like that, it will die because it's not in its correct position. So those are some of the signs that you notice to know that your fishes are not healthy. Now, to treat these fishes, before you introduce any kind of treatment, they treat fishes with either salt, the normal table salt that you eat, or antibiotics like red and yellow capsule. What do they call this other drug? Flagyl. Some of those kind of antibiotics. But I think red and yellow capsule tetracycline is more effective. How do you now treat it? You remove the water to the barest minimum, as in let the fishes, you'll be seeing the back of the fishes. Then you maybe buy a pack of the capsule. First of all, you mix them in a small container, then pour the water at different locations in the pond so that it can go around, circulate properly. Then leave it for 30 minutes, like that. After 30 minutes, you flush the water completely and introduce new water. For some reasons, you may do that up to like 5 different times, because some of them might not get treated in your first attempt. So you do up to like 5 times. But mind you, don't mix any antibiotics to give to them, because it might have side effects. So if you are using flagyl, use flagyl. If you are using tetracycline, if you are using salt, please use just salt. They are all effective.
It's salt, the same medium.
Yes, the salt. So you first of all mix it, let it be in the water liquid form before you put it around the pond. It will help, because salt is an effective method of treatment, because even before you stop fish in your pond, especially a pond that has been in use for a while and that you've left for a while, you use salt to sanitize it. Salt helps to sanitize the system and possibly kill whatever agent that is causing that infection. So that is the way you treat your fishes. So let me say, well, I will not teach you how to sell your fishes now. like I used to, when I was that time I was ashing, then I was doing it in my father's house. So I will put my advert in there's this app that they used to call Sell It. Then, so I'll put it up. People will be calling me from Lagos. People will be calling me. You know, people like to get their stock from different locations. People coming from Owerri, Onisha, that they want fingerlings. I was able to supply some around this area, but the ones of Lagos are not fit. So I told them not available. So there are various ways with fish, not a touch ground. A fish for bigger farms, like what I want to do now, not a big place, but I want to introduce so many things into my farm. I will have hatchery unit where I'll be hatching my fish. I have ponds. I have oven section. I don't just want to sell my fishes off, only fresh fish. I will sell some fresh, I will dry some. I'll be job person, I'll be dry fish. So I'll have oven, not even a gas oven. I'll have a local oven with firewood. Now my place, now my land. So I will do, that's what I intend to do. So that when you sell some off at fresh, you package some. People who go to office, you sell them at even a more expensive rate. Fish is very expensive right now. 1 kg fish is about 3,000 naira now in the market. 1 kg fish. So I want to conclude here. How long does it take? We already discussed that one. 4 months, minimum 4 months. Some people might decide to keep their fishes till 6 months. Some may keep to 8 months. But then you'll be wasting food. Because they want their fishes to be very super big. So that's why they, but if you are doing it for market purposes, please, at 4 months, at best, sell them. If they're not grow for 4 months, you know there's something wrong with the system. So at 4 months, they should be more than 1 kg, or at minimum 1 kg is enough for you to sell. So imagine where you have 1,000 fishes, you are selling for maybe 2,000, you know what it will be now. So you don't lose in fish business. That's what I'm assuring you, if you do it the proper way. You know, one thing that confuses people, when they say they want to start fish farming, they don't go into any form of research. They only wait for people to come out. Whatever you are doing, you need to go do research. You need to check out ideas from the net, from everywhere, from professionals. Okay? But where you wait, Mr. A will come. And like this, I do my fish. He work. Now like this, at the end, you'll be confused. You end up doing the wrong thing, and it will affect the growth of your fish. The whole essence of this discussion is for you to rear a proper fish and let them grow well. Your fishes do well, you do well. If they don't do well, you will not be happy. So that is it for fish farming. If I leave here too, any other time, you can ask me questions. I'll be ready to answer you. Thank you. God bless you people, sir. Thank you. Thank you.